Okay, sure. So a brief intro about me. I'm Nimish Agrawal. I'm the protocol lead at AZERO.ID. I'm responsible for the smart contract development here, and I also do R&D on enhancing the scope and utility of a product. So let's begin like what A0ID is. So it is the official on-chain domain system for the Aleph network, which is written in Rust using the Ink smart contract language. It is also one of the very first Ink production-ready dApp that has been live on the A0 mainnet since August 2023. And so far, we have got more than 3,000 registrations with 1,000 plus unique holders. So if you haven't registered your own A0ID domain yet, do so, obviously after the session, and benefit from our existing ecosystem of integrations with Subwallet and Subscan. And we have got an exciting announcement today from Telecom, a large enterprise firm that they have acquired their own A0ID domain today, and they're already making a good use out of it by setting the primary domain of their validator to it. This not only improves the visibility of their validator node among other nodes, but also enhances the trust and transparency for the stakers. Isn't this cool? So let's see like how it all began. Like I have an interesting and a fun story. So the project actually originated at another hackathon, like that's it for show in 2022, where the now Skylabs founder Mike and Dennis, along with other hackers, built a rough prototype during the event, and they actually won it. And after that, they received a grant from the LF0 to keep building it, and then the guys incorporated the company, raise the financing round, and then set up the team so that they can bring this into production. So I think like the hackers can see this as an encouragement to not just stop after the hackathon. What they have built during the hackathon, they can take it to the production. They can start their own company and just like do not stop after the hackathon ends. And if they won or didn't won, but they can use this as a base to continue forward. So like what's our vision is, so we already have a very basic working DNS on LF0 mainnet, but we are not close to what we want to achieve in the future. Our goal is quite ambitious yet simple. It is to like onboard the masses to Web3 with our domains. So how do we plan to achieve this? Is like we think like solving two things, privacy and onboarding, will help us achieve our goal. So in case of privacy, when the like liminar and shielding privacy SDKs goes live on mainnet, we will leverage those to build the industry first privacy preserving domain service, which will obfuscate the associated address of a domain. What this means is that I can give my domain say nimish.a0 to my friends without them being able to track all my funds and financial history and still being able to accept funds from my friends or other users. So this is really something which is important and will help users to shift to the Web3 ecosystem. The second is onboarding. So we are currently working on developing a completely new technology which scales across the whole Web3 ecosystem for on-chain domains, including Ethereum, LF0, potentially Bitcoin as well, and others network as well. So make sure to follow our socials to stay in touch and keep updated about our advancement and progress. So coming to the prizes, like many of you guys will be here for the prizes, and it is something really encouraging and important. So if you are integrating A0ID in a meaningful way in your project, so you can become eligible in the DID track and can get some prizes from the huge 70,000 prize pool. And also LA0 is offering funding by their EFP program after a successful hackathon to support long-term oriented teams and projects. So you can also use this stage as the basic ground and get started. And also like for the teams who built using the our like have integrated the A0ID domain in their project and have won the bounty will also become eligible for the free mainnet domain coupon for every team member part of the team. So it is also motivation. Next is the integration. So like the potential use cases could be from a basic one, like resolving the domains to the addresses. And second is doing the opposite, like resolving to address to the primary domain. So there's one caveat here, like an address can own multiple or resolve to multiple domains at a single time. So the wallet owner needs to manually set the domain that they want to resolve. So if they want to set their identity, so they will have to manually set that this given domain should be their identity. And we have a very modular metadata integration platform. So users can use it like it is a key value, flexible key value pair. So you can make use of it in a creative way and develop applications. And also like we are a PSP34 compliant domains. So it is NF like you can integrate it with the marketplaces and make use of things where the NFTs can be considered and domains may be useful. And also you are not just restricted to these types, as well as some basic use cases. You can also use your own creativity and come up with complex or useful or advanced use cases where the domains is necessary or adds with the user experience. So we will now move to the actual integration method, like how you can integrate the A0 ID in your product. So we have two methods, like on integrating on the front end side or either on the contract level side. So for both of them, we have provided libraries which will help you with the resolving and accessing the metadata or NFTs or other integrations as well. So first we will begin with the front end integration. So on top, we have a base resolver library, that is AZERO.ID resolver. Under it, we have two packages. One is the vanilla and the second is the React hooks package. So if your front end is built using React, so you can use the resolver React package that will help you reduce the number of lines that you need to write to do that certain task in a much concise manner. Otherwise, you can also use the vanilla one. And if you don't have a front end or the front end is not using React, so in that case, you can use vanilla. Even the vanilla resolver core can also be used when you are working with the scripts. So, and also like we don't need to set up you don't need to manually set up the Polyglot.js API. Though, however, if you have already set it up or have initialized it, so you can pass it in our constructor so that it is more optimized. We don't initialize another API client, and you don't need to manage the contract addresses, metadata, or the chain RPCs because it's already included in our library. And we have pre-integrated our A0 ID in the hackathon tab boilerplate, so you can have a look at it so that you understand how it's integrated, how it works, or how you can make use of it in your own project. So let's start with a simple example involving the vanilla TypeScript package. So here I will show like how you can resolve the domain to the wallet address. So in the first line, we are importing the chain IDs, enum, and the function resolve domain to address from the resolver core. And then we make the call to that function, passing the domain that we want to resolve along with the optional object. Like you can pass the client here if you have already initialized it, and the chain ID in this case, like we are setting it the LF0 testnet. If you don't pass it manually, so it will consider that you are interacting with the mainnet. So it is quite flexible here. So it returns address and an error. So we first check like is there some error or not. If there's an error, so we log that error message. Otherwise, we print the address, and the address is in the string format. So you can find more information about this from the source. Like we have a very good documentation. So you can find like how you can integrate and a lot other APIs or the functions are provided in the package. So second, we will showcase the example which involves the React hooks or the resolver React library. So in this case, we will do the opposite. resolution, like resolving from the wallet address to the primary domain. So here also we are making use of the resolver code to import the supported chain ID and this predefined hook. So in the resolver React, we have predefined hooks, so you don't have to manually use or implement your own use effects and deal with the asynchronous updates. So it handles everything beneath it, and you like make use of use resolver address to domain and pass the address that you want to resolve along with the optional object. So it also similarly returns an error and the result. So you can check if there is an error or not. Otherwise, you can work on the primary domain. So like before we move to the contract level integration, I should give a brief idea about how the protocol architecture looks like so that you have a better understanding. So we have a very modular design which involves multiple contracts like router, registry, name checker, fee calculator. But on the user and third-party app interaction side will majorly involve only router and registry contracts. So one can make API calls to the router to resolve addresses, get primary domains, or get registry addresses. Like if I pass like what is the address from name Nimish.A0, so it will check, okay, it belongs from the .A0 TLD, so it will retrieve the A0 registry, and from that it will call the function get address, and it will resolve or return error if the name didn't exist in the registry. And you can make use of registry contract when you are doing domain specific actions like accessing metadata, setting roles, or doing transfers, or anything related to the PS NFT standards. And I would like to add more about roles in our registry. Like we have three actors in our system currently. It's owner, controller, and resolver. So like owner is the one who has complete access of the domain. They can do whatever they want. However, controller also has every access, but they cannot transfer the domain. And resolver is like if you want to resolve the name to some other address instead of your own address. So it is also quite flexible with that. So one potential use case could be like your domain is being owned by your cold wallet address, and you have set the controller to your hot wallet address so that even if your hot wallet address gets compromised, you don't lose access to your domain. And also you can make some good use case out of it. Use create a contract which is the owner or which is the controller for the domain, and maybe use some ideas or something. And right now we have two registries in our system. One is the A0 for the mainnet and T0 for the testnet. So now moving on for the contract level integration. So you will have to first import or include our integration crate in your cargo file and add these couple of dependency in the features. And you can also like have a more look at it in the documentation for more details. And on your contract side, you will first need to import the account ID or domain. It's an overarching account type, which is an enum for account ID and domain. So like it gives you the flexibility and it doesn't hamper like if you are integrating our product. So it is possible that some users don't have their domain yet or they want to use their account ID directly. So it allows the flexibility. You can just replace in your if you have your existing contract, you can replace every occurrence of the account ID with the account ID or domain enum. So here I have a simple function example to show the integration. So here the user is of type account ID or domain, and we want to retrieve what is the associated account ID for that user. So we pass that user.get address, and we in the parameter we pass the domain router. So we are already storing the domain router, so we don't have to pass it in the function call, and it resolves to the account ID. So like if the user had already passed the account ID in the user, so it will simply return account ID. And if like they had actually passed the domain name, so it will make a call to our router contract and then it will return the result. So it is possible that the resolver was set or not. If in case it was not set, so it will return none. Otherwise, it will return the account ID that was associated with that name. So you can find more information in our integration guide. And if you want to know more ways to integrate in the contract level, like if you want to make low level cross contract calls, or have more control over the way the calls are made, so we have included those methods as well in our documentation. And you can also find the deployment addresses for both our mainnet and the testnet, so that you can test it out in the testnet. And though, like I will maybe in the next slide, I will mention about that. And also here is the contract integration crate. You can check it out to see like how it is implemented and get some reference and help if you are not familiar with the cross contract calls in Ink. So here are the further links. We have a very fantastic documentation with a lot of examples, so you can have a look at it. And also you can join Discord server if you want to ask something or have some queries. And if you want to try out the testnet, please DM us, because it is a gated access only right now. So we will give you the access privilege. And also you can check out the hackathon workshop to see like how you can use it to have a easy way of front-end level integration and other documentation as well. So this is all from the integration side. It is actually quite easy to do so. So if you face any questions, you can ask me. Yep, that's it. Thank you. And I'm open for questions if anyone has any. Like if you don't have any questions right now, you can obviously, like if you, like during your development time, you face any issues with the AZERO.ID integration or even with the Ink language, so you can get in touch with me and I will be quite happy to help you with that.
Nimish, there are two questions. Can you see it on the Q&A option at the bottom of the window?
So here is the presentation link, and if you want to get access, you join our Discord server, and in the help or in the dev channel, you can ask for the rights and we'll be happy to provide you with access. How to add some metadata from contract to A0. So we have a function set record. You can check it in the documentation and then pass the key and value. Like if you want to have some, like add some like profile data, so say example. So you will call that function along with the domain that you want the metadata to be updated along the profile along with its value. That way you can add metadata to your profile or your domains.
I think that's all. Thank you, Nimish.